Good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah Shearer. I'm the president of the Albany Public Library Board of Trustees and the chair of this executive committee, and I call this meeting to order. Is there any public comment at this time?
We have received 6 public comments, and I have included them all in the.
Is that for the full board meeting, though?
No, they said tonight. They were in response to the press release today.
Okay.
And it was all surrounding the mask mandate. Out of the 6 comments received, 5 were in support of keeping a mask requirement, and 1 was asking for the mask mandate to be lifted. Like I said, I did include them all in the board packet. I do remove all emails or phone numbers for privacy, but I keep the names and addresses if they're included. If anyone from the public wishes to make a public comment, you are asked to send an email to publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org or leave a voicemail at 518-290-6905. Both accounts are monitored at all times, and there will be one, I'm sorry, this is a committee meeting. There's only one opportunity during committee meetings for public comment. The next full board meeting is next Tuesday, March 8th at 6 p.m., in which there are 2 opportunities.
Thank you. First item under new business is to review the board clerk job description.
I'm trying to share it, but I had to move the tab. Can you see it okay?
Yes. So this was sent out to the full board last week for comments. I don't believe anyone made any suggested edits or comments. Okay. Jenna and Tom, should we walk through this section by section, or do you have any comments?
Hello, everyone. I'm here. Sorry I was late.
Hey, Brenda.
Hey there.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us.
I did not have specific comments on this. I thought it was a well done description.
Yeah, I read the description. I think it's accurate and appropriate.
The one thing is, I think doodle polls, not poll, singular.
Okay.
I agree, Sarah. I thought that this was well put together. Nice job.
Thank you. I'm actually just Googling doodle now, and I'm seeing doodle.
Oh, then go keep it doodle. Oh, just call it doodle?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't even realize. What are they?
Well, it doesn't have to be specific. Okay. It doesn't have to be specific to doodle. Like, you can say is familiar with scheduling software.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just don't remember. Did I mention doodle once or twice?
You could probably control F the word doodle.
And we want to just change that to scheduling software?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that. Should we walk through this, or it sounds like everyone's reviewed it?
No. Yeah, I don't think we need to walk through it. I think we
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Then I will take a motion.
Are you looking for a motion to adopt this job description?
Something maybe recommend to the full board adoption, like the committee, we're recommending it.
Is this going to be something though that is, I'm thinking about the last meeting. The job description is great, but is this something that is going to be temporary or permanent? From our last discussion, we mentioned about when the new executive director comes, about him making decisions of what he wants. As previously, this position was incorporated in the administrative position. And it was mentioned that that was something that Scott wanted to do as executive director. We noted that the new executive director may or may not want to split or may want something separate. And I'm just want to clarify, what are we planning on doing with this?
Well, I would personally lobby to keep it a separate position. I think it's very confusing when one staff member reports directly to the library and the executive director and also to the board. You know, just like our treasurer position and having that position person in it report directly to the board, I really firmly believe that the board clerk should only be reporting to the board as well. So I would lobby to keep this a permanent separate position that the board has oversight on. And if the executive director wants to hire an assistant, either part-time or full-time, I think they can do that, but I would not lobby to combine the positions in the future. That's just my opinion.
So I also think that we have to have that conversation, not just, I think when we bring this to the board and discuss it, that discussion has to take place.
Mhm.
Yeah,
definitely. But having the job description doesn't preclude us from making this temporary, like it doesn't affect the timing of the position or the hiring of the position. It just gives us a description that we can all agree on and then hire based on.
Well, I think we're doing a little bit more than that when Sarah just mentioned that she, in her mind, feels that we should keep them separately, and she just made a good point. So that is a bigger change than just voting yay or nay. I think we have something more on the table, and I also think that Sarah made a great point, actually.
No, that we can definitely have that discussion, but right now the vote is just about the description was the point I was making. It's not about the nature of the position, like whether it is like this is just for the part-time position as it stands that reports to the board. It's not related to the executive director the way the description is written. So what I'm saying is we vote on the description.
What you're
the
saying, I
duties.
also disagree with you because it's separating a job that did belong or a position that did belong to the executive director. So it does impact that. So I do disagree with that. So if you have a
Can you
job,
say what exactly about what I said you disagree with? Like,
when you said it doesn't impact anything with the executive director, we're dissecting or taking apart or separating a particular job that did report to the executive director.
Well, I'd say this to that. We've like our bylaws have always given us the power to hire a board clerk. We just hadn't ever done it, and we decided to merge the positions kind of
Right.
by whatever. And so I think you're I think you're
Conversation.
right, Brenda, but I think like I think I
My
agree
conversation
that
is
we
to
should.
make it clear. Yeah, my conversation is to make it clear that what exactly what you just said, that our bylaws say that we can do X, Y, and Z, and also mention exactly what Sarah just said, what she thought about this particular position and the separation of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with what Sarah says, but it just wasn't so cut and dry and say that, okay, you approve this and it means nothing else but this particular job description. I just feel differently than that. I think Sarah makes a great point, and just like you made a great point, in our bylaws, we can actually do this. So
Yeah, I think we're all
I
right.
think we're all on the same page here. All the only point I was making is that the vote tonight is about just the language of the description, putting it to the full board.
Yeah, I think whether even if whatever we decide when a new executive director comes on, it still makes sense to have a job description, even if we don't fill the position in the future.
I agree.
Okay.
So while we're on the topic, I'm just trying to think through next steps and how this all lines up. So I guess if we're looking at the job description tonight and we're trying to approve this to send to the full board meeting next Tuesday, and then when we adjourn the meeting tonight, we're going to be interviewing a candidate for this position. And we discussed aligning this position with our treasurer position, making it an appointment at our annual board meeting in July. We talked about that in our last meeting in executive session. So I guess our next board meeting on Tuesday, we would be looking for the board to approve this job description, and potentially a candidate for the position. But I do hear you, Brenda. So I think that also needs to be part of the discussion is long-term plans for this position as well. So kind of those three things to bring to the board next week.
And also the limitations of this position and the person that we're bringing forward. The temporary piece of it, where do we see it, when it's going to be posted, those type of things.
You mean for the temporary appointment or for like
Yes,
a regular?
Yeah, we discussed. All right, so we have Rebecca, we keep her on or whatever, but we also discussed having this open and open opportunity for others as well.
For the appointment in July.
Yes, this was supposed to be, I don't want to overlook the fact that we're going to make sure that this is an opportunity for other people to apply as well.
No, I think that all was understood after our last meeting. That's the plan in place.
Yeah.
Well, it was just mentioned, so I want to make sure it's understood.
Yeah, and that actually reminded me, Brenda, because I don't think I put in this job description, and I think it may be in the treasurer job description or might not, which committee the job description and hiring process goes through, because as we discussed in our last meeting, we want this position to go through the executive committee, just like the treasurer position goes through the audit and finance committee. So I do think that helps to clarify the process. If we say this position is with our committee, then if the board votes to approve this job description and we're all on the same page about the plan next week, then we would get together as the executive committee again, and we would start the process for the next year. Posting of the job description, interviewing candidates, and those items.
And that would happen when? I'm sorry,
No, it's okay. I'm grabbing my phone so I can look at a calendar. I think the
'cause you were
timeline.
saying next year- 'cause you were saying next year. I thought it would be the end of this year.
Yes,
For the
sorry.
next fiscal year.
You were
I think
saying
I'm-
next year. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm speaking in terms of fiscal. So if the board can make an appointment, well, the board has to appoint, even if it's the same person, the board has to make a 1-year appointment at the July annual board meeting for the treasurer position every year. And this position would be the same. So if we were going to put it up, I would say working backwards, we would have to let the candidate we're going with know, I would say, mid-June if we wanted to appoint them in July. In order to make a decision mid-June and make an offer to someone, we would have to do interviews beginning of June, end of May. And if we were doing interviews then, I would say the job would have to be posted beginning of May. I'm not, we could post it earlier. I just know typically when people interview for jobs, they like to start a little sooner. That's the only reason I say that timeline, but I'm completely open to discussing, you know.
Yeah, that was similar to what we did for the treasurer. I think we interviewed people in early June and made a decision with, a couple weeks before our meeting, like the annual meeting. So I'd be okay, like making a motion that is just adopting this as a piece of paper that describes the position with the understanding that we are getting a new director and we'll have 3 new board members and, this isn't binding us to fill the position or not fill the position for forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to make that motion to send it to the full board. So what's the language of that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
If we have language.
I'd like to move to send the board clerk job description to the full board for consideration.
I second.
Oh, with that, did you want that edit, Jenna, scheduling software instead of Doodlepole? Okay.
Yeah, incorporating the edit describing scheduling software rather than a doodle poll, or not. I don't actually care that much about those 2 words, but this is a motion, so I will say yes, adding that edit.
Okay.
I'll make the first.
Jenna made the
Jenna
first,
is.
but you can give it to Tom. I don't. I'm a little tired, so.
Would you like us to vote in board docs?
Rebecca, you're still muted.
Sorry, I was just receiving a public comment voicemail, so my computer was ringing like crazy. You could just do a voice vote. Well, actually, right here. Hold on.
No, we can
Not
do.
logged into board docs, full disclosure.
Yeah, I have it written all out in the minutes. Can you do a voice vote?
Yep. All in favor? Aye.
I
Aye.
You want to move on to the next topic?
Okay, motion carries. Our second item under new business is discussion of the mask mandate. Melanie, if you just want to give us an update of what's occurred in this past week since we last discussed the mask mandate a week ago.
Sure. So one of our concerns, the intent was we had originally planned on making this decision on March 8th, knowing that the CDC and the governor were planning on making their decisions this week. They jumped the gun a little bit and made their recommendations on Friday and over the weekend. So we came in on Monday with new guidelines in place by the CDC and by the governor, and then the schools all pretty much jumped on board as well. So as of today, schools are no longer requiring the masks in the region. The daycares are no longer requiring masks in the region, and then pretty much everywhere else had already eliminated the indoor mask mandate, unless, as a mandate, but is still optional for those who are still wishing to wear one. Going through, most of the Upper Hudson libraries have also decided to go along with the school timing. So they have eliminated their mask mandates as of today. There's, I think, 3 or 4 that are waiting until their boards meet either later this week or early next week. But for almost everybody else has also eliminated the mandate and are going to recommend wearing masks, but it's not mandated anymore. The people have the option to choose not to wear them. We have had an additional 2 events on Friday and 2 incidents this week that got to the aggressive level, where staff was threatened because people were required to wear masks, and staff are beginning to feel unsafe in that situation. It's becoming more and more difficult because right now we are the last organization to rescind a mask mandate. And so it's becoming very, very difficult. And we're more concerned about the safety of our staff right now because we have had the aggressive incidents with patrons.
Thank you. So discussion on the mask mandate.
Well, first, I'd like to say that the public comments we received were very well thought out and level-headed, and they were appreciated, and they helped me understand where people are coming from. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to be out of step with literally every other institution that people are interacting with. But I do think that, I do appreciate the idea of making the most vulnerable people feel safe as well. But I do think it's still going to be pretty safe. The library is not a crowded place typically. There's even our small branches have enough room, given the number of people who use them at a time. I think I'm leaning towards getting rid of it.
I know that that folks know that I'm immunocompromised right now, and so it's something that I've given a lot of thought to because it directly affects me. But I, as a person in the library world, don't feel it's fair to put the burden on our staff to make them enforce something that's out of step with what's going on in the rest of the community. It's very concerning to hear that they have had violent incidents, and I don't want I want the board to be supporting our staff. And so while it all seemed like an abrupt and somewhat scary change for people who are in similar positions to me, what I've been doing is just in places where I can't distance and where I'm not sure other folks will be masked, I carry one myself. And so I'm, especially because of the concerning incidents about our staff's safety, leaning towards removing the mandate and moving to a recommendation.
I'm just quickly going through the list because it's a one by one with the Upper Hudson. And it appears that right now Hoosick Falls and Altamont are waiting to make the decisions until later on. Everybody else has lifted except for Cohoes, because Cohoes Library is in a senior center. So they're having to follow what's in the senior center at the moment while their building is being renovated.
I just echo what Tom and Jenna said. You know, again, given the concerns regarding staff safety, you know, I'm also leaning toward removing the mask mandate. I also would like to remind everyone that just because we remove the mask mandate does not mean that you can't still continue to wear a mask. You know, I am vaxxed and not immunocompromised, and I still carry my mask and wear it, you know, when the situation calls for it. You know, so I would definitely encourage those who don't feel completely comfortable being in an environment without a mask mandate to definitely continue to carry and wear your mask when you feel you need that. Absolutely. And the library, you know, will be supportive of your right to wear a mask.
And all of our signage is planning on stating the same thing, that, you know, while we are no longer mandating masks, we do highly recommend wearing them in the library. And we do ask that you respect others' choice to wear the masks or not.
So I would like to thank the community for sharing their thoughts, taking time out to do that. And as Tom said, very well thought out and very well written comments, certainly appreciated. I believe that removing the mask mandate is very premature. I would like to see more data, even March data. I also believe and agree with the comments that were already said in regards to others who have already followed suit in removing mask mandate. I certainly support the staff because if other entities remove a mask mandate, it is certainly up hardship and a difficult situation for our staff at the library to try to enforce something that, or I think, institute something that other folks are not, especially in commonplace. I did hear Melanie mention that one library has a senior center in it where they would have to continue with their mask mandate, and I understand that. But it's very difficult for someone to be at a desk and say, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z when everyone else isn't. And safety of our employees are just so important, and the support of the employees, but we also want to support the community and folks with disabilities and folks immunocompromised and folks who are concerned about COVID-19, because COVID-19 is not over. We're still in a pandemic. It's still serious, and it's still deadly. So we, I think, have all those many things to consider, and we want to do the best for the public and the best for our patrons and the best for our employees. And I think sometimes we have to make the hard decisions. And again, I feel that removing the mask mandate is very premature at this point, but being that we know what's going on in the community and across the state and across the nation, we're very hard pressed to be in line with the rest of the other entities that we deal with on a regular basis. It'd be very difficult not to be in line and in step with the school, and not be in line and in step with other entities, regardless to how some of us may feel that it's premature, but I don't see a way that we could not be in step with other entities. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Jenna and Tom, everyone for sharing your thoughts on this tonight. I'm not sure if anyone has any follow-up comments or if we're ready for a motion, but I'll just leave the floor open.
I mean, it's a tough decision, and nothing we do today precludes us from changing our policy if the public health situation warrants it in the future. So, we're taking a month by month approach, and we'll keep doing that.
Sure, and to that, part of me thinks we may be entering this new cyclical normal where, we could all benefit from masking in the winter months, to prevent COVID and just the flu and colds in general. And then as spring gets here, spring and summer, we're outside more. So absolutely subject to change based on what's going on and the numbers. And we're definitely following all of the relevant entities, the state, the CDC. And like you said, we're just taking this as we go.
I do want to mention, with the CDC, they're updating they have updated their metrics and their guidelines as well. It used to be a 4-stage system: low, moderate, substantial, high, and now it's a 3-stage. It's low, medium, high. And it is going to be our recommendation when we do upgrades to the POP on Tuesday, that we do still recommend, when it's in the high phase, that masking is going to be required in the high phase, but then in medium and low, it is optional. And we are currently in medium, so that's where it would become optional. So that we're thinking of tying it back to that 3-stage and having it tied directly to that. So then we don't have to, there's a semi-national metric that is used that will guide how we go into and out of mask wearing instead of having it to be a board decision every single time.
I'd certainly prefer that because I don't have an expertise in public health, and I would rather have these decisions be based on people with an expertise in public health.
Yes, and to that, I guess my question is, you're not looking, are we considering an update to the POP at our full board meeting, or when would that change come about?
We're currently working on the wording of it, and it's
Okay.
making the suggested wording to bring to the full board on Tuesday.
Okay.
Because right now, as it stands, it's out of date because we do have it stated that we're following CDC guidelines, but we're using the old metric, so we do need to have the update.
Gotcha.
Brenda, would that work for you a little better if we did tie it to that CDC recommendation? So if anytime they're in what's considered a high phase of transmission, we would go back to the mask wearing, but during low and moderate, it would be optional.
Yes.
Well, then I will make a motion to end Albany Public Library's mandatory mask requirement starting tomorrow.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Discussion as mentioned. Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody. I know this is the hard discussion, and we feel both sides of it. But once again, it came down to a issue of safety with the staff. And we feel with the direction it seems to be heading, and that we're hoping it's going to continue to head, having it optional, we feel is a good choice. Thank you.
Seeing no other business for this committee to take up, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Weren't we gonna? I thought we were gonna go into executive session.
Oh, we have a separately scheduled meeting after adjournment.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
I'll second Jenna's motion.
Aye.
Yeah, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See you on the flip side.
So is there? I guess I'm not sure where the link for that is.
Are we still? I think we're still live.
Hold on.
Oh,